Hey guys, Josh here from Mad Charcoal. We're going to be using this pen today. I don't remember what it's called. I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese. I think it's Japanese, but it's like a kind of like a paint tip brush pen, but it's the thinnest one I could find. It's like a felt tip, and it's just black. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make a sketch. This is 14 by 17 Strathmore drawing paper 400 series. It's my favorite paper to work with for charcoal and for ink drawings. I'm going to make just the eyes in this drawing, and then I'm going to outline the head so that it's a interesting composition. Make pupils there. The technique I'm using is one that I don't see that many artists use, but it's like a very scribbly gestural technique where I overlap lines and I stay very loose and sketchy while creating values and changes in values using overlapping lines. So I'm not using these lines as actual lines in terms of separating different parts of like the eyelid or different parts of the face, for example, but I'm using it as almost like a hatching technique, but a random hatching technique without really directing my lines properly. But I am kind of facing and guiding myself with the structure of the face and overlapping to create those values. It really helps that when I squint, to be able to see what I'm doing a little bit clearer without being distracted by the details. So as you can see, I've gotten a little bit better idea of where that right eye is going to be and all the details in the right eye. I'll drop in the reference that I'm using. It's a normal Pinterest reference, but I'm not keeping it exactly the same as it, but it's just a guideline of how I'm going to make this piece. I'll drop that into the description so you guys can try it, follow along with it if you'd like. I'll turn to it real quickly. That's it right there. I kind of like the angle of the face and all that, so that's what I'm using. Although I'm trying to keep it gestural and free and not exactly like the image because I don't want to just copy. Copying is boring. I want to be able to create something interesting with guidelines. Guidelines help a lot. By guidelines, I mean like a reference of some sort, or multiple references of some sort, so that I'm not just working out of my brain, which can be very limiting to what I know. And I don't want to be limited to what I know, but I want to learn more. And the way you can learn more is by using different references and different angles and all that. And you can apply it to other drawings with other references. Therefore, like it's just a lot more beneficial. So overlapping lines creates more value. There's only one value I'm working with, and that's the black line, right? So just more layering of these black lines causes for darker, it seems to be darker to the naked eye. So I'm using that to my advantage. And I'm squinting as I draw still, and sometimes not, but always returning to that squint to be able to see what's going on without being distracted by all the details. Now, just as a basis to know, what helps me as well is understanding the proportions of the face. Therefore, if you have an eye which is from a tear duct to the outside of the eye here, you usually, generally speaking, have the same distance from there to there, from here to here in between the eyes. It's kind of like a measure of an eye in between the eyes. Will give you, usually it'll be pretty accurate to that. It looks like in this specific face they droop down a little bit like that. They're a little bit of kinder eyes, but nonetheless, it's pretty close to that. I wouldn't say it's exactly that in the drawing that I'm making, but it's all right. It's just a good guideline to kind of stay close to them so it doesn't look off or weird. All right, pretty happy with where this is. And I don't want to get any more detailed. I don't want to add the nose, the mouth, or anything like that because it kind of adds mystery. It kind of adds an involvement of the viewer. Now I got to find my marker. All right, I've got my Sharpie. It's a really chisel tip, the really large chisel tip Sharpie, because I want a very thick and bold line for the head here. So we're gonna be pretty rough with it, but we're gonna have to try to be as accurate as we can by still keeping movement to be expressive. And it doesn't have to be exact, something like that, something along the lines like that. And then we're gonna go down here with the chin, which at this angle, it kind of flattens out a little bit this way from perspective. And the neck kind of goes down that way. And we have the other part of the neck here, and the shoulder coming that way. So, and it comes off the top here. There we go. And that makes for an interesting piece. A lot bigger of a role to play for the viewer, which I think is important in making something that's interesting. Let me know what you guys think of this style of a piece, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.